Magic Notebook. Without it, this entire franchise would cease to exist. The Magic Notebook is what our protagonist Maxwell writes into to spawn literally anything that tangibly exists, with a few restrictions. In the games, you tap on a notebook and use the depths of our corrupted imaginations to solve puzzles to collect the star rights. In the original games, it's not really said how this whole damn thing came into existence. Look, it was a DS game, and no one had time to actually develop their stories yet, except for the games that did. So the lore-hungry fans had to wait until the Wii U for that. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, during the opening cinematic, is where we learn that this notebook was a gift from Maxwell's father. Here you go, son. Go screw up the entire world. Be responsible now. Games. During the time that this series actually existed and meant anything to the world, there were 6 original Scribblenauts games, the first of which was aptly named Scribblenauts. This game was okay. It was definitely in the top half of the series. Top half of 6 is still the top half. But it was admittedly sort of underfleshed and not that well executed. And I feel like people only remember this game just because of the idea. The sequel, Super Scribblenauts, absolutely reversed course on this though, introducing everyone's worst nightmare, adjectives. This game was a lot more refined, with the game direction being shifted to being more puzzle-based, and I feel like this is a pretty solid pick for the best game in the franchise. There was then the mobile game Scribblenauts Remix. Now, whether or not this counts as an original Scribblenauts game, listen, I don't make the rules, but if I did, I might just consider this one a port. As said, this was released exclusively on mobile devices, and when I tried to play it last time, my phone nearly lit on fire. This app combined levels from the first 2 games, with the majority of them being from Super Scribblenauts, but as I said in my review, the biggest draw to it was the price to content ratio. It was like $1 for a bunch of levels and another $1 for more DLC. This game would also receive lots of holiday themed updates, and for what it was a really good game and one I still recommend to this day. And it helped this series stay relevant for probably another 231 days, because kids these days probably don't even know what the DS is. Our generation is starting to get old, guys. On the Wii U, we would end up getting Scribblenauts Unlimited, the series' first foray into HD. Going from a DS game to an HD game has given me permanent whiplash that lasts to this very day. See, everyone at the launch of the Wii U would sit there and complain about, oh, there's no games, but then conveniently ignoring this game, which was an absolute banger. Fifth Cell followed this up next year with Scribblenauts Unmasked, which was just okay. Scribblenauts Unmasked was a crossover game between the worlds of Scribblenauts and the DC universe, which was really cool 10 years ago. It felt super rushed to me, and the consensus of it seems to be pretty mixed, but personally, I never liked this game. The structure of the game put the concept of levels on the back burner in favor of these randomly generated missions, and it just felt like the product lacked the love and attention that was previously in the franchise. The series would then die for 5 years and come back with Scribblenauts Showdown in 2018. And then it died again because this game was dog shit. This was like a party game sort of thing, except whatever party you would play this at is probably one you need to call the police on. It had its own sandbox mode, except it was borderline unplayable. I've seen Netflix TV shows with more satisfying endings. Maxwell, you gotta love that dead-ass smile. I mean, you could tell he's probably a murderer. Now, to be fair, considering these games have basically no stories, there's not a lot to say about this guy. To a degree, that's fair, as he's very clearly supposed to just be the avatar of the player. But there's so many questions I have. Why does he have a star on his shirt? Why long sleeves with shorts? And if you thought I was joking when I said he was a murderer, in Scribblenauts Unlimited, he literally gives an old man a rotten apple for kicks. This guy's a complete sociopath. I will say this though, I do think it's sad that this series died, because Maxwell had all the makings of a classic character, and there were probably worlds where he maybe could even make it over to Smash Brothers. He's got a charming design, and more than 6 people know him. I almost feel like this character was completely robbed, but then you remember he's a murderous psychopath and your sympathy goes out the damn window. Words! Yes, you and I both know what words are. I mean, I'm typing them right now. There are 22,000 words in the original game, and looking at the most noteworthy source of all time, homework.study.com, there are 80,000 nouns in the English language. So look, 1/4, it ain't too bad. Or maybe that kind of is bad to miss that many words. I don't know. It's a pretty impressive effort, to be honest. According to the wiki, 5 developers for 6 months would just go through a dictionary, choosing what words to put in the game. They even created their own database called the Object Knot, which let the developers make objects conveniently with reused shapes. So they didn't have to draw everything from scratch or anything, but that still must have been an absolute living hell for those poor developers. As said earlier, they would bring over the corrupted uncle of nouns, adjectives, to Super Scribblenauts. The wiki lists 9,000 adjectives in Super Scribblenauts existing. Really, you guys couldn't make it 9,001?